If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this episode of Mind Pump,
Yo.
So for 53 minutes, we talk about stuff that has nothing to do with fitness and have a good time. And after that, we get into the fitness questions. So here's what we talked about in the intro. Pure. That's the first thing that we talked about was the new Organifi Pure product. It's a nootropic, but also a gut health supplement, and we're all loving it.
It feels pure.
It's really good. We are sponsored by Organifi. If you go to Organifi.com/mindpump and use the code mindpump, you will get a discount at checkout. Then we talked about how Justin's kids like the Organifi red juice. Nobody tell Justin it gives them more energy.
Yeah, that's what's been happening.
My kids like the green juice. And then we talk about interesting advertising campaigns online, like that time Skittles did the porn ad or whatever.
It was very vulgar.
It's terrible.
And, we went over that.
Then we talked about Zwift. Hope I'm saying that right. Zwift. It's the. It looks like, what was that? It was like you're biking at home and your people are competing with other people online.
They try to make it like a video game experience.
Yep, that's why we also mentioned Zombies Run and gamifying fitness. Cool.
Yep.
We talked a lot about the industry there. Then we talked about the weakening of children. Kids are getting weak these days. Studies are showing that
pathetic.
Their grip strength is worse. They can't do as many sit-ups. They can't hang from a bar as long. We're turning our kids into Jell-O.
Yeah.
That led us to...
We should start shaming again.
That led us to talking about kids' weights and barbells, having equipment at home. And, of course, we're talking about home equipment. Why not mention the best home equipment company on the planet, PRX. They're the makers of the famous fold-out rack that really leaves you with tons of room, but you can fold it out. It's very stable. You can do squats and overhead presses and bench presses and deadlifts and all kinds of things. We are sponsored by PRX. If you go to prxperformance.com/mindpump, and if you use the code mindpump, you'll get 5% off and a free MAPS Prime program with the purchase of over $500. Then we talked about old school fitness gurus and the evolution of fitness equipment. Here's one for you. Tony Little, remember him?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Gazelle.
Back in the day. Then we talked about negatives. This is a technique with exercise that gets you super sore. We also talked about strip sets. This is where Justin loses a bet and has to get naked and work out.
Every time.
And we talked about the dangers of showing off in the gym, even though Adam does it every single time he works out. Then we get into the fitness questions. The first question was, what is our go-to workout plan if you're away from a gym on business or on vacation?
Get more alcohol.
The next question was, this person wants to know about warming up. Why is it that when they go on winter hikes, their hands and arms move slowly until they warm up? What is happening to the body when we warm up? And what's the difference between warming up and priming? Next question was, what books do we recommend for educating oneself on health, fitness, and lifestyle? So we kind of go through a bunch of books that we recommend that we think are awesome resources. And the final question, if each of us could have one physical feature from the other Mind Pump hosts, what would it be? Everybody wants Justin's calves. Also,
I'm not giving them away.
Guess how many days there are left for our promotion, Adam? Guess.
100.
No. 2. There's 2 days.
That's it? There's just 2?
Close.
You were way off. 48 hours. This is the final 48 hours for the MAPS Starter Program Discount Launch. That's a mouthful. MAPS Starter is our program for beginners or deconditioned individuals to work out at home. All you need are dumbbells and a physio ball. It's phenomenal. It's also a great gift for somebody like a parent or a kid just getting into working out. To check out the program, go to mapsstarter.com. That's MAPSSTARTER.com. Use the code STARTER20. That's starter and the number 20 without a space for $20 off. And enroll now. You'll get a free t-shirt and a free year of access to our Mind Pump private forum. Now, if you want to check out our other MAPS programs, like our bodybuilding programs, our athletic training programs, our correctional exercise programs, and more, just go to mapsfitnessproducts.com. I'm really loving the fucking Pure, man. Are you guys still?
Oh, can I get some of that right now?
Bro, we got tons in the.
I'm gonna get some right now.
You need it.
You guys
right
keep
now.
talking. I'm gonna go get some.
We need to get you nice and clear,
dude. And you got to get water too.
Yeah.
Because now we don't have water anymore. Now that CrossFit moved out next door.
Oh, did they take that out?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't
now?
work.
Yeah.
So now we have to drink bottled water, which I don't like drinking bottled water because they found all the plastic particles in bottled water, and I'm not trying to, eat plastic.
Yeah. Is Evian any different? Because every time I drink it, it tastes different.
Evian?
Yeah.
You know who was drinking Evian?
So is Dasani.
Dasani?
I don't like Dasani.
I love Dasani.
Dasani's made by Coke.
Yeah.
So you don't like them?
Nope.
Yeah.
Don't be a hater.
No. See, you love Coke.
Yeah,
you give Coke so much money.
I do love Coke.
Yeah. No, you know why I like Evian? One reason only.
Why?
I'm going to sound like such a dork. Paul Check.
Oh, yeah, because he verified
He was
it.
drinking Evian, and he's like, this is good water. That's all I need to know.
Right?
You know what I mean?
That's funny. Yeah, he confirmed, because that was always my favorite for some reason. That and like Fiji, but I actually like Evian better than Fiji.
So I got the box of Pure. Are you mixing it up?
I am. I dig it, dude.
Bro.
I like it.
You legit feel it. That's why I went back and forth with them and was like, is there caffeine in this? Because I feel stimulated a little bit. But it's got to be the lion's mane. It's got to be the main thing.
So you think that's the main contributor that lifts your mood?
And coffee fruit extract has got some properties that are kind of interesting. But then it's got, I'm going to read right now because I haven't done this yet. I'm going to read the gut support that's included in here. So there's organic baobab. I love that name.
Baobab.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good for your gut. Apple cider vinegar. Now, here's the thing with apple cider vinegar. It's got some interesting properties. It does seem to be beneficial for a lot of people's gut health. It is not a magical compound that you could do on everything with.
That's my issue with it.
Yeah.
It quickly becomes everybody's anecdotal go-to.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar is like coconut oil. Like apparently, you break your bone and you could pour it on it and it heals. You know what I mean?
Rub some tussin on it. Right?
Yeah, you can do anything with it.
I love their ways to love this product so it loves you back.
What does it say?
Yeah, it says that. Ways to love this product so it loves you back. Directions: add 1 serving to 8 to 12 ounces of water combined with your favorite beverage of choice. Enjoy in the morning, around workouts, between meals, and anytime you desire a boost in focus and hydration. Love you back.
That's pretty smart marketing there.
Love yourself back.
No, they've done an incredible job.
Dude,
it's been fun to watch this company.
They impress me.
Oh yeah, they're bad.
They really impress me. But anyway, I'm sold. I've been having one of these every single morning. Every morning, especially if I'm fasted. Then I feel
the continued use of it has made a difference. Like, because I did like it initially the first few times, but I didn't really feel that's substantial. But now it's multiple uses has definitely made a difference.
My favorite part about what Organifi is doing is they're making these little individual packets. They started it with just their green juice, but now they have the Pure is done that way. So is
and
the
the gold.
Oh, they have gold now.
Yeah, this is how. So Katrina keeps them in her purse. So nice, right? Your girl carries a purse around, so she carries all of them in her purse, and you just got to throw them in like a water bottle like this and shake them up. Which first is taking the scooper and then having to have a shaker to do all of it. And it's a mess. Like, ugh.
What's funny?
How lazy have we become?
I know.
That's the problem.
It is kind of a bitch thing to say.
But you know what? What's that one? It's like a fruit juice kind of company. It's like a total artificial juice where
High C.
It's something like that, right?
Sunkist.
Yeah, but it's something like that where you pour it into water and it turns into like fruit juice. Anyways, why I bring that up is because I've actually converted my son to then at least go to the red juice, and he loves it. He does that instead of asking for not High C, but it's one of those. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Crystal Light.
Crystal Light. Thank you. He used to, because like his friends kind of turned him on to that and was like always wanting to pour that into water. And I'm like, no.
Oh.
So now at least I was like, well, why don't you try this? And he really enjoyed it.
Now, how does he act after the red juice? Because it's got rhodiola in it, which is...
I'm going to give it to him in the middle of the day so he can...
see what happens?
Yeah. But he does fine. It gives him a boost of energy.
My kids like the green, which is funny because it's green.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to get kids to drink something green?
Yeah.
Unless it's fluorescent green.
Yeah.
If it's like a vegetable green.
Like Mountain Dew.
You know what I did? This is what I did the first time I gave it to my daughter is I mixed it up, and what we do at night is we have this like sleep routine that we do at night, and we turn the lights way down and try and get everything real quiet. So it was dark. So I thought, oh, she's not gonna, you know what I mean? She's not gonna see that it's green. And so she had it. She had it, and then she liked it, and then I'm like, surprise!
You drink something vegetables.
Yeah, you drink something with vegetables. My life has been a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Last night, when did this episode air, Doug? Or is this going to episode? Okay, tomorrow. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away the. But yesterday, Christina Rice was in the studio hanging out, and she came over and had dinner with us, and she wanted to do a podcast with Jessica, which gave me a perfect opportunity to take the kids out of the house because they still hadn't picked out a gift for Jessica.
Right.
So I take them to the mall, and you know how it was so sweet to watch my kids debate and discuss what they think Jessica
she'd like more.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm really impressed with them knowing her and knowing what would be good. And we ended up walking around the whole mall because they had all these different ideas and stuff. It's so cute to see kids do that.
Do you think they nailed it or what?
I think they did. But, even if they didn't, the thing about gifts from kids, especially when you can tell that the kid thought about, thought it out.
That's everything, yeah.
Yeah, because you thought about this, this wasn't just a gift card or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff.
Are you not going to share with us or what?
No, because this is going to air before
she'll listen to it
before she gets there.
She actually listens to the show, unlike Courtney.
So you could tell us.
I could say whatever I'm getting for her.
So you know what's funny is, of course, when we first started, I totally get that, right? But now that Mind Pump has grown to the size, it's crazy to me that she doesn't, because I would think by now Courtney's probably had multiple people either that she works with or people she knows that actually.
Oh, it's happened already.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that in itself would pique my curiosity. Like if like Katrina and like two of her girlfriends started like some podcast and it's like totally something I'm not into, like they fucking refer makeup or talk about it or some bullshit like I would never want to hear.
Yeah.
And I never listened to it, but then it got so big that I'm like running into people that go,
so, yeah, there's been a little bit of a shift, and it's not that she's listening, but she asks me questions about it constantly, every day, and it's all Mind Pump related. Before, it was just like, well, yeah, but now it's my turn to tell you about my day and like my work, and it was always competitive, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Also consider like the hectic life that she probably. She's a full-time nurse.
Yeah.
2 kids. You guys are like 2 ships passing in the night.
Exactly.
You don't even have time to listen to our podcast half the time.
And that's the thing. It's a valid point, and it's like not like she's going to turn our podcast on in the car while she's driving the kids to school. She's not going to do that.
Thanks to Adam, it was so inappropriate half the time.
Whatever. Mr. lost the swearing game the other day.
I did.
I won, Dad.
Oh man.
I did. How funny is it when Taylor has the conversations with us about maybe you guys should, he doesn't really say it like this, so I'm paraphrasing, maybe you guys should kind of,
tone it down.
Yeah, be careful with what you say because, we're working with sponsors, this and that. And it's like, I try to communicate him. The last thing you want to do if you want us to go in a direction is to tell us that's the direction we have to go because we'll run in the I find myself naturally like.
It's ingrained in our DNA or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Reverse psychology probably works best with us.
Probably.
Like if you took us to size, guys, your show is a little too PC. We need to get a little more edgy.
Yeah.
We'd be like, excuse me?
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not going to say.
You're not ramping up enough.
I'm not going to say a bad word for the next 5 episodes. Just
yeah. I know.
Screw you, man.
That was never a driver. It was like pleasing some big company.
No, and you know what the irony of that is that is becoming marketable.
Yeah.
That quality now is becoming marketable. At least the perception of it, right? That, those guys don't care, or this company doesn't care. They just do. So now companies are trying to come across that way, which I think is kind of cool. And the internet allows a little bit more of that. I remember, maybe it was 3 years ago. Did you guys ever see those Skittles commercials that they made just for the internet?
Yeah.
You ever seen those, Adam?
No.
Oh, they were like seriously raunchy.
Well, bro, there's a guy and a girl. It's their wedding night.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's
having sex with her.
They're having sex.
Literally having sex with her.
It's a Skittles commercial. Remember, Skittles is a major national brand.
What?
He stops.
I didn't see this.
And he goes, and he basically jizzes all over her Skittles.
But it's Skittles coming.
Yeah.
all over.
I can't even. There's no way I can
What?
say that
You
without
never saw that?
No. How
on the
never-
kettle black. You know, it's like he was jizzing Skittles out of himself.
Yeah, and all over her face.
Yeah.
Are you
Skittles.
kidding me right now?
I swear
No,
to
it was
God.
amazing.
How have we never talked about this before?
This is 2 year. It's a 2-year-old commercial. or
Sal
at least.
so showed me that.
Doug, you have to Google sexual Skittles commercial.
Yeah, it's the most inappropriate commercial, but it was a national brand that made a commercial specifically
I couldn't believe it. I
for
was
the
like,
internet.
Wow.
And that's the beauty of the internet is that you could do that.
Do you remember who? I don't remember anybody doing it before Axe. Axe did the Dirty Balls on YouTube,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was one of the most.
That was a
this.
great commercial,
Watch
too.
this. Watch this. Ready? You got to start it from the beginning though. It's one of my favorite commercials of all time. Watch this.
Is it cold in here? No.
What?
Watch.
So he's basically got her bent over.
Ooh, it's about to come. It's about to come. It's about to come. Ooh, turn around.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Skittles did this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Share the rainbow.
Shit. Taste the rainbow.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like
dude.
that was the most
How have I never
epic
seen
commercial I've ever
Hey,
seen.
there's probably 50 different people who've posted it on YouTube. Each one of them 100,000 views. The original one's millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. This is different about Axe. Axe built their business through that.
Yeah.
Skittles is already a national brand.
Right. Definitely way riskier to do it if you're a
The
Skittles.
internet's where it's sort of an underground where they're testing things out. They can get a little more edgy. I remember that though. Don't you remember that when there was this all this like momentum to get on the Super Bowl and like get your ad in the Super Bowl, but then if you didn't make it, they would go a little bit harder. The other version would make it on the internet, and so those actually became more popular. And then now everybody's wanting to see what they put on the internet versus what they put in the Super Bowl.
Think about it this way. Let's say you're a national brand, right? Let's say think of a big national brand. I don't know, Goodyear tires. And Goodyear tires, we see a news article, an article that says a headline: Goodyear ad, Super Bowl ad banned. Super Bowl declined, said they won't do. That's free advertising. Everybody's going to go look up,
of course,
the ad that was banned.
It's like the whole 2 girls, 1 cup thing.
That's right.
I did not want to see that.
Wow,
but
that's too far.
Did you know he
I
died
just-
a poor
I just
man?
went all
Good
the way.
Mr. Goodyear.
He died a poor man?
Yeah. It wasn't until the generations later that they become.
Have you heard a story about how he developed the rubber to make those tires?
Yeah,
He spent his entire everything.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. He spent his whole life developing it and getting to that point, and then it was like literally after he died, did the thing turn into a bajillion-dollar company?
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'd be
I wanna-
mad.
I don't want to do
I want
that.
to see it happen.
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of companies, did you guys see the thing that Jackie sent over? Jackie's on fire lately. By the way, I love it, Jackie, when you send me stuff like this.
Fire!
She sent
the
over
cycling one?
yes, the Zwift, ZWIFT,
Say that
Yeah,
again.
Zwift.
Zwift,
Yeah.
Zwift.
Yeah. You got to change their name.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably just sounds weird over here.
Yeah,
You know,
Zwift.
Yeah.
but they just raised 120 million. But I remember the first time. What it is, it's one of these cycling apps, but I can do it in my living room, watching TV, and hooked up to I think any sort of a basic computer, and we can race each other. And you could do that with anybody all over the world. It looks really cool. Now I remember the first time I went to a gym that had these bikes. And they obviously you weren't connected to the internet where you were racing anybody all over the world, but they had like 4 or 5 bikes and
Different landscapes they would
yeah, and
put
then
on
we
the
could,
screen.
all 4 of us could get on bikes next to each other and like a video game, and pick what map you wanted to do. Yeah, here it is, Doug.
And this is all at home.
Yes,
And you're connected to other
I'm
people.
not even a yes, you're racing real people.
Now, do you have to buy the bike? Do they have a specific bike that you buy, or is it just a?
I don't. I would imagine you would have to have some sort of a bike that's sending
Well, this is brilliant.
a connection to the app.
Oh yeah, you got to buy the bike. I think.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, that's
By
brilliant.
bike. Well, yeah.
This is the first, in my opinion.
There'll be another version where you can have a sensor. Another company will get even smarter than that.
Oh, it's you put your bike on it. It's just a little part that you attach your.
Exactly.
Now this is brilliant because
You don't have to buy a bike. That's
Oh,
even
there it
smarter.
is. Yeah,
No,
see,
well,
they figured that out.
this is the first time that I've seen a viable way for people to for them to capitalize with technology in a way that I think this will work. I actually think something like this will work.
Well, yeah, it just taps into people's
I think
competitive
it'll work. It is
nature.
working. It's killing it. It just raised another 120 million.
Where's it based out
Well,
of?
I've always seen this in the video game.
It wasn't originally here.
Fitness combo. That's always
Zwift.
been ready to happen. It's just people have created a lot of lame versions of it. So it's nice to see. And that's the thing. You need that interaction for it to make sense. Like, so it's all dependent on what kind of like platform you really create with it.
Right. It's a European-based company. It's making its way over here. That's what.
Yeah.
That's
This would-
Like you've seen that in Zombies Run. Like that was one of the most popular apps of all time.
What was that?
Fitness wise. So it basically Zombies Run. It's a video game where there's narrative and there's all this storyline along with it. And so you put your headphones in when you go out and do your jog or whatever. And based off of whatever mission it's telling you to go, like you increase your intensity, you run faster, you run slower, you get all these points. It all makes sense in terms of being able to save people from places where they're captured by zombies or about to get attacked, or
they gamified running.
they gamified the entire process and did it in a way where it was like I could actually play this on PlayStation or something and it would feel the same. It's just all narration in my head.
You know what I hate about the one thing that irritates me about the industry a little bit is that, and this isn't just because of the industry, it's just people. As long as I've been in the industry, you get these trends that up and down, like Zombies Run, great, and I bet people will stop using it because they're bored, and then the next thing, and then it's like we always have to trick people into exercise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm torn, right? Like
I mean, it's a good thing.
No, right.
Working out.
That's why I'm torn. I'm torn on of all the bullshit and crap that we sell and buy and we put out into society. I feel like these have at least a positive thing, right? Like getting people to get out there. But again, to your point, Sal, they all are intensity type based things, and they're all short lived. It's not a long term answer.
Yeah, I really feel like there's an awesome version of this that will make sense, that will incorporate a sound mindset towards fitness and health, but it's not. There's gonna be ones like this that are tools to kind of lead you in that direction, but there needs to be somebody that sort of incorporates intermittently, like challenges, for instance, or things like that. Like those work. Like people get behind like competitions every now and then. It's just being dependent on that is not a good.
I want to see something that is able to incorporate resistance training. It's just the problem with resistance training is it's so not basic. You know what I mean? Like running is run.
Well, I mean the app
cycling is cycle.
App that Justin and I were building was designed that way. It was designed that it starts you off very basic, and as you move up the levels, the workouts become more difficult and more challenging.
What a monster.
Definitely a monster type. I have no desire to do that shit anymore. Especially when you see what sucks if you're somebody who has this dream, and not to shit on anybody's dream right now that is wanting to get in the app world, but you put all this money, time, and investment into creating this brilliant idea that you have, and of course you want it to take off. And if it does, you're not even out of the woods yet, because if it's taking off and exploding, your biggest concern and worry is that a big company, like Capcom, or what's the one that owns Zynga and all the other big ones. I forget the name of but there's like a handful of like behemoth freaking app companies that own like hundreds of apps, and that's what they do. They just shop and look for apps that are on the rise, that are awesome, and they either
like a Blizzard or something like that.
Right, they either acquire the app and buy you out, which is what probably your dream is if you're creating the app, is that someone actually pays you, or they fuck you and they reverse engineer it. And again, there's no trademarking on that stuff. Anybody can come in and basically take your concept, throw a couple different skins on it, change the name of it, and literally and then they have the marketing power because they're a $1 billion company, and they already have the network of people that already have hundreds of their apps already, that they can easily push it out and get it caught up to where it's just.
That's why I always laugh when you see these app companies that, like, Facebook offers so-and-so $1 billion and they decline. I'm like, you idiot.
Yeah, that was your moment.
You should have sold, because they're totally going to fuck you now. They're going to come up with their own version of it and screw you over.
The app world is a tough one. The two things that I hear the most, especially on my Instagram when I do like my Q&As and people ask me questions like business related, I get lots of questions around the app, and I get lots of questions around a t-shirt company. And I feel bad every time I tell somebody to squash their dreams. Is that terrible ideas, man? Just terrible ideas. I'm sorry. And I think a lot of that's perpetuated by the Instagram world right now, because it seems like every fitness person, that's their dream, is to either build up a following large enough to where they can either pivot into selling t-shirts or pivot into an app, the fitness app, where they, and like, it's like, dude, there's a million of those that everyone's doing, and there's not a lot.
There's a reason why you see so many of them. You know what I mean? It reminds me of like,
there's no money in tool apps.
You know what it reminds me of?
No.
It's like, how many people do you know, especially maybe now too, but especially pre 2008, how many people do you know that went and got their real estate license? You know what I mean? I got a real estate license. I could sell real estate. I could say everybody. Yeah. How many of them are actually successful? Small percentage. You have this flood of people getting licenses to do something because they saw other people being successful and thought it was easy.
Well, it's funny. I remember even with .com when that first came out, where just the, buying the address and the domain was a thing. And like they kept promoting it even on the radio that like, oh, so-and-so, bought whatever.com, like Disney.com, and then they had like Disney had to buy it off of them because they were the first to get it.
That ship has sailed.
It's like, I just couldn't believe that was such a frenzy that people, and then it became this, a big lawsuit. Nobody was making any money that wasn't already an established company.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, it was silly.
Yeah, it's stupid. It'll be, I hope at some point we figure out a way to really get, people mainstream to exercise on a regular basis, and it becomes a cultural phenomenon.
I always wonder if that's possible. We had this kind of little debate back and forth that, I want to be
I think
optimistic with you, but I'm more of a realist.
I think I know. I'm not know. I have an idea of what I think could cause it. Do I think that what I think is going to cause it will happen? It has to be a real cultural shift. It really does. If you look at societies that are active, it's part of their culture. You know what I mean? It's part of their culture it's the way their cities are designed. It's the way that their lives are structured. Like there's some cities in the world that you can't help but be active because it's not designed for you to not be active. Mm-hmm. Like you can't drive in certain cities. You have to walk everywhere. Or in certain cultures, it's a part of what you do when you wake up in the morning. You do, Tai Chi, or your job has you, your work has you exercise. In Japan, a lot of companies, and I don't know if they still do this, but there were a lot of these kind of old school companies that everybody got there at the same time, and then they had the whole company up and do calisthenics and exercises together.
Well, that's where I see stuff like this. Like I would really love to see that be like the first step in that direction. So you could take the competitive angle, because everybody always does that with companies like, well, this year we're going to shoot for this goal and everybody's going to rally and we're going to acknowledge who, the leaders were and whatever. But now you take that and you implement it in through like better practices, whether it's mobility or it's like, things that they can do intermittently throughout the day, better like food decisions, like things like that, where we're rewarding people for making better decisions initially. And then hopefully, we get some adoption of that process along the way.
Yeah, I was, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody who works with children and who's been working with kids for like 30 years. And she was telling me that kids are so much weaker, physically weaker today than they've ever been. Mm-hmm. Just because the culture has shifted. This is what I mean by that.
You shared a stat maybe a year or more ago that I remember in regards to that, when they measured the grip strength. Mm-hmm. And they measured it of something like, I can't remember. I know I'm going to crucify it right here. It was the grip strength of a teenage boy right now is like weaker than a 50-year-old man, just like 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
I got some stats for you, and these stats are from 2008, so it's worse today, much worse. So a study that was done at Essex University found that, and they took 315 10-year-olds, and they compared them to 309 kids who were tested in 1998. So it's a difference of 10 years, right? 98 to 2008. Here's what they found. The number of sit-ups 10-year-olds can do declined by 27% between 1998 and 2008.
Wow.
Arm strength fell by 26%, and grip strength fell by 7%.
Man.
While 1 in 20 children in 1998 could not hold their own weight when hanging from wall bars, 1 in 10, so double, could not do the same thing. So, and that was 2008. It's gotten, and it's much
accelerated.
It's much worse.
10 years, yeah.
It's funny, dude, and it's obviously it's not. And you know what pisses me off about this is what's going to end up happening is people are going to end up blaming this on genetics, like they did with obesity. Like all of a sudden it became, obesity, it's genetics, and your parents are overweight, therefore you're overweight, this, that, and the other. And it's like, and scientists were like, actually, 30 years ago, there weren't that many overweight people. Now today, everybody's overweight. It's the same thing with being weak. It's not genetics. It's just inactivity. Because I know this. I know when I train my kids outside, when I take them in the garage and take them outside and do exercise with them, I see their strength improve considerably. Like I'm having my son push the sled here and there. And already I'm having to add, I mean, he's 13 years old. 13-year-old kid, especially a boy, if you train them with resistance, they get strong very quickly, especially in comparison to doing nothing.
Right.
And so that's what these experts are finding. And this is what I mean by it has to be a change in the culture, because kids aren't weaker today because they're not working out like they used to. Kids didn't work out before. It was a part of the culture of being a child, was that you played and that you were active. And so in order for us to get the average person to exercise, it's going to have to be a part of the culture. It's got to have to be a part of just their life. And I don't know. That's a very difficult. You know how hard it is to change a culture? That's a very difficult.
Well, it has
thing
to
do.
start with the kids, like Justin alluded to the other day that we had this conversation.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that we begin to implement into our children, and they develop that way. Because trying to move it now or change it now. I mean, even us. I mean, I called us out on it. I mean, we're a fitness company, and it's not like we get the staff all together an hour before work starts and we all do calisthenics. I mean, how great would it be if we all did? What a perfect world if we all did Prime, for Prime Pro for the first half hour or hour of work for everybody. Yeah, I mean, fuck, it would be a game changer. But even ourselves, we don't do that now. I think. Everybody in our team
we disperse and it's a priority individually, but we don't bring that in as a culture.
Yeah.
And what's crazy too is the study that I'm talking about. The scientists thought that the kids would be stronger because they were taller and heavier. And kids are getting taller, gradually over time
based off a calorie increase. And all that.
Nutrients, and also we trend in that direction because taller people are considered more attractive, I think, is part of it. And the other part of it is, kids were able to do more C-sections. So, if a big baby survives and all that stuff, there's a lot of theories as to why that's happening. But they thought, they're taller and heavier, they should be stronger. And they're actually not. They're a lot weaker. So I don't know, it's crazy. We'll see what happens. I think we've gone through the evolution in the generation of obesity that's exploded. We kind of we're in the middle of that, right? The next generation is probably going to be the evolution of weakness, like lack of mobility, lack of like poor posture, pain and dysfunction as a result of those types of things. Part of my training with my son is training his shoulder mobility, because we were doing some basic push-ups and stuff, and his left shoulder was bothering him. And he didn't hurt it from being active. It's hurt because he doesn't have decent mobility because of the amount of time he spends on his computer. And so now I'm doing correctional exercise as a part of it. And it's like, wow, this is kind of getting out of hand with the kids around us. I was reading another article where they were saying you should limit your children's electronic time to I forgot what they said, 8 to 10 hours a week. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of electronic time.
It's really not, in my opinion, because a lot of that has shifted from straight television watching. When we were kids, we used to watch cartoons after school, or you would watch your favorite Friday shows. And so, easily as a kid, I was watching 2 hours a day easily of television. So that would be 14 hours. Mm-hmm. I think that
I think they were referring to not TV. I think they were referring to the other electronics. But I think I see what your point is.
No, that's why I think that the kids are not really watching. I don't know. You guys have kids. I don't have kids. But do they tend to sit in front of the TV very much? They probably are in front of their phones,
yeah, they
right?
do,
or their
they do that when I
tablets.
tell them to get off the computer.
Yeah, right.
exactly. That's,
Right.
That's like a backup plan.
Right, so that's my point. So I think the time that we were at our generation was spinning in front of the quote unquote boob tube, right? That was going to melt our brain.
Yeah.
We were sitting in front of that. That kids have evolved beyond that. TV's boring to them, so now they're on YouTube and on their phone or tablet.
Well, it's interesting we're bringing up training and training with kids and all that. Like I brought this up quite a while back. I think that I was interested in finding the kids these like little sort of kid version of like a barbell. And so there's PRX actually now has these junior barbells.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
They do. And so I just ordered them for Christmas for the kids.
So what are they? They're just smaller, lighter barbells?
Yeah, just smaller, lighter barbells, shorter.
Doug, pull them up on the TV. I want to see these.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a great way that I could at least start to teach the skill of barbell movements, even if like I have an 8 and a 5-year-old, but I mean, they don't weigh, I think I'm trying to remember what weight. It's like 15 pounds or something like that. But I thought it'd be cool because then they also have these sort of foam weights that you can get as well.
And foam weights.
Yeah.
That's brilliant because you're right. Teaching kids those mechanics, how do you do it without a barbell? I use a broomstick.
Yeah.
But a broomstick might even be too light, to use.
Doug's trying to find it right now.
Yeah. Do you know what it's called?
Junior.
Oh, it's called Junior?
Yeah, look up a junior.
Yeah, let's look that up.
Is this new? Did they just start doing this?
Yeah, this is one of their new products that they just
I love
brought in.
PRX. Man, I can already tell how much their website's evolved since we started with them too.
Are you still? How often are you still using your rack? Is that where you do all your workouts, Justin?
Yeah, it is. It is where I do all my workouts now. It's crazy. I told Adam the other day, like I invested in more weights, which, I was cool with the amount of weights I had. It kind of got the job done, but I found myself just doing reps and then kind of getting into the maintenance end of training, and I'm like, okay, I need to like press it a little bit more, and so I just got some more 45s. And
I cannot stress.
There it is right there. How much?
Yeah,
click that off, Doug, so I can read that. It says the 10 kilogram polished steel 25 millimeter.
So it's like
barbell.
22 pounds.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
That's so
I'm gonna buy one.
great.
I'm gonna get one.
And you
for my
said they
boy.
actually have like really light weights too. Are they bigger? Are they like the wheel, like the big size, so that it's like they're pulling the real?
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna
you
get
do
that
that.
for my
So smart.
boy.
But
That's
yeah,
a
I love
great
it.
idea.
They're constantly bringing on new things too. Like I just got for myself, I got a landmine attachment, and they also have like a cable pulley attachment for the squat rack, so I could actually do some like lat pull downs, tricep extension.
Oh yeah, that's worth it.
right.
Totally worth
Like,
it.
and I didn't know that was a feature. So it's like they're getting smart with like these options to add on to it. So it's pretty cool. Like I really like that I put my investment there, and now I can keep updating and refreshing my experience with it.
Wow, their library of stuff is really
Comprehensive.
well. Yeah, that, and it's evolved. It's much bigger. You know what they
Yeah.
have now too. So I didn't know this, or else I would have directed people here. When Danny did the videos, he did some videos with the what do you call those, Justin? The knee band or the thigh bands or whatever.
Hip circles.
The hip circles, right? Those bands that he has around his knees.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting tons of emails. Cassie was like freaking. There they are, right there. So the mobility bands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually sell these now too. So those that have been that
Inexpensive too, $10.
watch the YouTube and want to know a great place. Well, PRX company we're affiliated with, we didn't even know that. They must be new. I don't remember seeing this when we first started with them.
No, I think they're asking their customers like what they can provide, and so I think they're just getting feedback and adding new products to feature on there. So,
Dude, I cannot stress enough, and I know we had this debate and discussion in the past, but I can't stress enough, man. Having some equipment at home, it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer when it comes to consistency. Be able to schedule my workouts when I want.
Mm-hmm.
You take out the time having to drive to the gym, having to deal with all that bullshit, especially coming up in New Year. Look at January's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the gym is like in January. You want to rip your eyebrows off your face.
yeah.
You work out at home, you don't got to deal with that. So for me, it's an absolute game changer.
And it's an outlet I've found useful for when everybody's sort of in a certain type of mood. Like I usually get a pretty good gauge of okay, everybody's a little bit testy right now. Like, and so I'll just pull the kids with me down to just play on climb or do something. And
are you evolving that room at all, or is it kind of like it's done, or are you still like doing things to it?
Yeah, no, I'm adding little things here and there constantly, and I'm trying to make it more inviting, especially for the kids. Like, so I have those little 5-pound dumbbell or kettlebells as well, and yeah, I'm adding things as I go because I like the fact that they follow me down there whenever they see me go to work out. So I want stuff for them to do. I also have this. It's funny. It's a Body by Jake, which you think that guy's gone. He's like, that's like old news, right?
Yeah.
He came out with something a while back. It's called like the Tower 200, I think. But it's like this rack that goes over a door, and so you have like cable kind of feel to it. These nylon sort of stretchy cables. So anyway,
that's perfect for
they're
kids.
doing stuff with that, which is pretty rad too. So
yeah, bands are really good with kids. Band work is good with kids because it teaches them control too.
Yep.
Because when you're pulling the band, you want to let go. Like you ever train a kid with bands and they pull them back and they just want to let them go. Yeah. So you got to make them slow down and squeeze. And so I've been doing a lot of band work with the kids. I think that's a good.
I did not know that Body by Jake was still making moves, dude.
Yeah,
it just goes to show you.
It was years ago, but it's still relevant.
What a unique. This is something unique about the time that we live in now. That because we can connect to people, and if you do a good job of building a loyal network of people, it really allows you to do multiple business pivots. It's really it's insane. It's advice that I give to a lot of people that reach out to me. I think sometimes people get so concerned about having this brilliant business idea or making things so perfect. It's like, honestly, if you can just find a way to provide value to people to where they want to hear from you or they want something from you, if you can just do that, and do that well and consistently, and build yourself a network of people that have some sort of common theme, which Body by Jake, obviously they're people trying to get in shape, whatever. So many avenues and different businesses that you can move into or pivot at any time.
Well, Jake did whatever his last name is, did very, very well. Then there was Tony Little. Remember Tony Little?
Yeah.
Of course, the long hair.
The gazelle.
Yeah.
You know what his first workout program was? I have
no idea.
The humping one?
No, it was a workout video.
Remember that one? You remember those?
I do.
At 10 o'clock at night, you would see the videos. There'd be like 12 hot chicks in like the onesies.
My grandfather had one.
Doing the thrusting thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got caught on that channel a few times.
My grandfather had one of those things.
Those leotards.
Tony Little's first workout program was all just teaching you how to work out. And I remember he would talk all about, it's about the technique. It's all about the form. It's all about, that dude is still selling fitness shit. He still has a massive brand. Then there was Body by Jake.
Well, he pivoted, I thought, to some kind of like a...
He would be a fun
bison.
Interview.
It was like a bison company, like where he was selling bison meat.
Really?
Well, look, he's got a nutrition store right there. Doug's got it pulled up right now.
He'd be an interesting interview.
No, that's what I just said.
He made a ton of money. He was like one of the first to really kind of jump from cows to a different source. That was like
oh, there it is right there.
Yeah, I want to
Body by Bison.
Oh, see, yeah, bison. That's right.
I want to have him on the show.
How old is he? He looks young as fuck right there.
Yeah, he's probably old now.
Well, what'd be funny? He comes in, he looks nothing like that. He's like 65.
That's his old picture.
You wonder if his ponytail now is like, like a hair extension. He's still trying to keep it.
It's attached to the hat.
Yeah, exactly. It's the hat. He takes it off. You're like, hey, man, you fooled me.
Then there was Solo Flex. You guys remember the Solo Flex?
Yeah, I remember those commercials.
Solo Flex was that sold so many units, and it was all resistance.
Was that Bowflex?
Yes,
Bowflex.
No.
What do you mean?
Soloflex was different than Bowflex.
Well, I think Bowflex came first.
No, Soloflex came first.
Really?
100%. Soloflex, 40 years.
My favorite was
40 years.
Chuck Norris's Total Gym thing.
Yep. Then there was Chuck Norris's Total Gym thing.
Just because it's Chuck Norris.
Have you ever slid around on one? Those are kind of fun.
They are kind of fun. They don't do much for you.
Yeah,
no, you can't. You could get a little workout on that thing. Not a lower body workout.
Kind of
you get
body weight.
You get a little upper body workout. Absolutely. I've done a little upper body workout on them before.
Did you really?
Yeah, no. You can do some very cool shoulder, chest, tricep, even back row stuff on it. You're fucked for legs. The leg stuff
you're
is
fucked for
the
legs.
leg stuff that they try and
This stuff,
yeah.
See,
it's like
and
Pilates
that's always
for your
the
legs.
issue, right? There's always going to be like muscle groups that are like dog shit for some of these products.
It's just funny because I learned very quickly that free weights was the way to go. So I'd see this kind of stuff and I'd be like, just buy me a
Just like,
barbell and a bench, and I don't need anything else, and I'll do everything I need to do. That's all I had. That's all I had for a long time. In my dad's backyard, we had a bench,
it
a
works.
barbell. That was it. And then, of course,
Well, you could argue that this is a result of the Nautilus wave, right? I mean, when Nautilus came in and then machines became this, when they were originally designed for rehabilitation, I mean, that was the main purpose that you saw these machines were like for rehab.
Well,
and then they turned into like
Nautilus. So that the inventor of Nautilus
took off with it.
was Arthur Jones, and he was actually quite brilliant. If you look at Nautilus equipment, old Nautilus equipment, the engineering that he put into those was brilliant. Because before that, you know who the gym machine makers were? The gym owners. It's like Joe Gold.
Yeah.
He made a lot of machines that were in Gold's gym. You know, Jack LaLanne made machines for his gyms. Vince Garanda made machines for his gym. Arthur Jones is really one of the first ones to kind of commercialize it, and they were actually quite brilliant. And they didn't use cable. Remember, like now when we work out with selectorized equipment, it's plate. It's a selectorized, and then it's got the cable, right? Back then it was a chain. You remember the old Nautilus equipment?
Yeah.
It's like a bike chain.
bike chain, yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, they changed that for obvious reasons. You get something caught in that thing, and there goes your finger.
See you later.
But some of that old Nautilus equipment that you probably won't find in gyms anymore, some of the best feeling equipment that I've ever had in terms of machines, because he did such a damn good job. The next revolution of equipment came with plate-loaded equipment, which was hammer strength. And hammer strength
were they the first ones to do it?
They were the first ones to, I don't know if they were the first ones to do it, but they were the first ones to really.
The popular version.
Yeah, because before that, you had free weights and then you had selectorized machines, and they weren't
I remember how
plate-loaded.
excited I used to be when I was like, training in the off season and everything. I'd see a gym that had hammer strength equipment. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I remember we got excited about that stuff too.
You know who popularized hammer
Dexter
strength?
Jackson, wasn't it?
No.
What bodybuilder? It was a bodybuilder.
Dorian Yates.
Oh, Dorian Yates.
Dorian Yates.
I thought it was Dexter Jackson.
Now Dorian Yates popularized the shit out of hammer strength, and that's what gave it its credibility. And then you found it in gyms. And the reason why gyms liked hammer strength so much was that it was plate loaded, so you could use the same plates that use your free weights.
Yeah.
And you could throw it on this, and you could, Plus, with plate loaded equipment, and their selling point was it mimicked free weights, which nothing really, is like free weights. But the strength curve, was different. So like when you do a press, like the shoulder press, the hardest part of the shoulder press was at the top where you're the strongest, and it was lighter at the bottom where you were weaker.
Sure.
But a lot of people realize Nautilus did that first. Nautilus used different shaped cams to produce similar things, and some of the Nautilus equipment had capabilities where you could change
1, 2, or 3.
Yes.
Yeah, you had the tension at the end of the rep, or you had the tension in the middle of the rep, or you had the most tension at the beginning of the rep.
Yep, absolutely.
Those were cool. You know what? They really didn't. I feel like they didn't really explode that much. You didn't see them in normal gyms. You could.
Those types?
Yeah.
Too complicated.
Yeah.
People had no idea what that was.
Right.
It had to be very simple and basic. But till this day, the old Nautilus, for me, some of the old Nautilus machines are like the old Nautilus chest press, incline chest press, so basic. I have yet to do a machine chest press that feels as good as that one.
Yeah. I think machines, all in all, have been amazing. I think what just happened was it was so amazing that everyone started to gravitate towards that, and we lost the love for the barbell. Mm-hmm. And then, barbell squats and deadlifts just fell out of favor. Like we went from the 80s of, nothing but barbell squats, deadlifts, overhead press, and the Arnold era of lifting and training barefoot and crazy and dirty, right? Like, and then it turned into this like machine war. Who could come up with the coolest, most creative machine to target the smallest muscle on your
now
body?
you got like pneumatic machines that use like air pressure.
Yeah, why didn't those really? Kaiser
Those came out a long time ago.
Kaiser.
I remember
they
doing
did,
them,
but they're not popular until just recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried my first one of those in San Luis Obispo when I was just out of high school. And I remember seeing them. They were like they were cool. But I never saw them really take off. Now I know that all the Kaiser ones are like that now. Yeah. So I know it's made its way into the medical community.
Well, medical and high performance, like sports specific type gyms really utilize.
Oh, really?
them. Yeah, because of the Mainly for the eccentric portion of it, right? So they can kind of like control that a little more effectively, so it doesn't like, they can get real explosive, but then it can sort of ease its way back.
They're super expensive is the big problem.
Oh, and then there's the ARX machine, which is like ridiculously expensive.
Oh, that's the
and
one
some
that
monstrosity.
Greenfield is tied to, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's them, but I don't like that whole promoting
No,
like
it's-
one max out rep and then
No,
you're
I
all
don't
done.
It's our other buddy. It's the bulletproof guy.
No, Dave Asprey.
Yeah, he's the one that's like really behind that.
Really? I thought Ben. Remember when we went to
I think he's
Greenfield knows
tried it, but I don't think he's.
No,
like,
remember Asprey
promotes
was
it.
like, I only do 10 minutes of max out intensity workouts twice a week, and I get all the benefits of resistance training.
Right.
And I remember when we interviewed him, I was thinking in my head, like, do you have any idea who you're talking to? We're trainers for 20 years. Don't talk to us about
That's
working
one of
out.
them. I thought it was so smart because I had a mechanized idea of like being able to control that resistance and went all the way through the process of it and then found all the patents and then finally stumbled across their patent. And I was like, oh shit, it's literally been done.
Now there was one machine, and I don't remember the name of it. It should come to me throughout this episode, but it was brilliant. And this is back in 96 or 95 when I first started working out in gyms as a kid. And what it was it was electronic, so it was electronic resistance, probably used magnets, and you would set the weight that you wanted to do for the positive portion of the rep, and then it would automatically calculate a heavier negative portion of the rep based on the fact that I forgot what percentage stronger you
4 to
are.
1.
And they use the magnet for
It's
that.
4-1.
Yeah, and so what you would do, they had a chest press, they had a leg extension, they had a leg curl, and they had a row. And I used to love these machines, and I would do them at the end of my workout. And what you do is let's say you did the chest press, you push out at 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And then when you reverse, it was like 200 pounds.
You're like stabilizing it on the way back like crazy.
Oh, it was and now it took a while to get used to, but it was so freaking.
See, that was my idea, but like it was more mechanized on the way back, so you could control it from an app. Let's say, like you had that sort of all figured out, and then, in the back you'd have like a machine that would basically apply that type of resistance that you'd have to really control and stabilize on its way back.
Now, I've seen free weight adaptations that do that as well, where you get under the bar to do a squat, you lower down, and then it automatically drops 100 pounds, and then you squat back up. But it doesn't allow you to do more than one rep. I've seen stuff like that before. Have you guys ever seen that?
No, I have. That's cool.
I want to try
Yeah,
it.
it is
I almost want to experiment with something like that. I just don't know how I would do that myself. But I've seen like these things that you could put at the end of barbells that allow you to do that, and it's
There's a lot of value in if you have the right spotter, if you have good mechanics. There's a lot-
Negatives?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
In loading the barbell up with a weight you can't get up, but people don't realize it's a 4-1, right? That's obviously that's a generic number for most people, but you should be able to handle 4 times the load
Is it 4-1?
Yeah, it's 4-1, dude. It's crazy.
You sure?
Yeah,
That sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy, but you should be able to resist.
Now I wouldn't go straight to that.
No.
because-
There's no need. You don't even have to do a full 2 time. Or
Yeah,
you
because
wouldn't-
because you also, as well as we train ourselves to do a good positive rep, people are terrible at a negative.
Yeah.
So imagine if I loaded your back with 1,000 pounds and you had to lower it, even if you might have the strength, you don't have the control, right?
Right.
You'd be like,
Yeah, no, you would. I mean, let's say if you're somebody who max squat is like 400, just you putting 450 or 500 on
and
there,
then doing a slow
and doing
descent.
as slow as you can descent, and then I would set the whatchamacallit up, the safety bar up to where I could go drop all the way down, then the safety bar would end up resting. That would be your goal, is to descend as slow as you possibly can, and then just let it settle.
I remember when I was a kid, I thought I would take all these high intensity techniques because it kept getting hammered into me that intensity was everything.
Yeah.
That I would take all these techniques and combine them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I would do a strip set with partials and then forced negatives, and then I'd squeeze at the bottom. Like stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was no purpose or rhyme or reason to do all, but I would combine all the high
doing
intensity.
like a static stretch in between your reps and everything.
Dude, I used to do
weights.
I used to do partial reps at the end of every set. Like I thought, I could squeeze out more. I could squeeze out more.
Yeah.
And then wouldn't build muscle. And I'd wonder what the hell was
Weird.
going on.
I just would hammer the shit out of myself.
Do you guys ever get caught? This is a great story. I was at the gym and I was doing a bench press with 2 of my buddies, And rather than put a 45 on there or whatever, I was probably, I want to say I was 15 or 16. And so by this point, my max bench was something like 145 pounds, maybe 150 pounds. But instead of putting the big plates on, we decided we were going to do like crazy strip set.
Oh, all the 10s.
So we put, no, we used 5s. Like we loaded it up with 5s because I wanted to make it as intense
Which
as
is an
possible.
awful idea with chest because dropping 5 pounds after you're fatigued
So
is
you had
nothing.
to get all those from like the entire gym.
Oh,
just,
dude.
Like, collect
we
all the
loaded
fives.
this bar up with a bunch of 5s.
Oh, man.
And then I did as many as I could. And then I had one guy on each side and they'd take a 5 off. And I'd do a couple more and then another 5. And I got all the way down. Here I am. I'm 15 years old. And the most important thing in the world to a 15-year-old boy is to look cool in front of girls. Like, there's nothing more important.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing worse than looking bad in front of a girl. Like, that's the worst thing in the planet. So here I am. I don't know how many times we've stripped down the bar, but now I'm left with the bar, and I'm shaking and quivering. And, of course,
I'm going to do that today.
with just 5 pounds on each side.
After this podcast, we're going to do that today. Do we have enough 10s? We might have not have enough 10s.
And of course,
we don't have
at
enough.
this moment where I'm shaking and quivering and yelling, and my friends are screaming at me, "Come on, you can do it! Come on, Sally!" The hottest girl in the world, another
In the world.
yeah, like in my world, right? She walks at this girl I used to check out. This 15-year-old girl I used to work out, so she's my age. She's walking in and she's watching me struggle with the bar.
Yeah.
And sweat and scream. And so to make matters worse, you know, because now I know as a grown man, confidence is, an energy, right? Because what I should have done is just nothing. Of course, what do? As I walk over to her, I'm like, "Oh, I just did upset with all those weights that are on." I like explain myself, look like an bigger idiot. Yeah. No, you don't know. I was struggling because
That's the 97, 98, 99.
1,000.
You guys ever do something? You guys ever do something like that in the gym?
Tough.
Because there was a girl watching.
No,
you?
not too bad. I never.
Well, you were in your 20s when you were lifting.
Yeah, and I was in my 20s, and in addition to that, I'd never maxed out. I never lifted really heavy. I was one of those guys that didn't do that. I mean, I rarely ever trained underneath 6 reps, man.
I think Justin lifted like I did.
Yeah, I was been
He
an
can relate
idiot.
to you more.
I was doing an incline press, and I remember like I think I had like 275 on there just because I was trying to be like cool. And there was a girl squatting next to me, and so I was just like trying to like keep loading, and I had like a 10 on each side. I was like, "Ah," and I didn't have a spotter, and I forgot to put the clip on one side, and so I was coming up, and then the 10 fell off, and then I was like, whoa, and then so just your reaction, you kind of jerk in that direction, and then boom, the 25 comes off, and then oh no, then all of it, then goosh, boom, and then I slammed all the weights. I almost got a weight on her, like because she was right. I was mortified.
So I have pulled the asshole move and to this day I still pull this asshole move when I know how I'm supposed to train that day. Like today is going to be a light day or whatever like that, and somebody next to me, and it's typically not a girl. It's typically a guy who's relatively my size is working out like a squat next to me. I'm squatting, he's squatting.
It's your little gym nemesis.
Right, we're relatively the same side. I told myself today I was working on mechanics and controlled and going to go light, and he's stacking the weights on, and I'm just 225, 315, 4. So then my ass, all of a sudden my workout plan changes, So I do this asshole move occasionally when that happens, when it just so happens to be that somebody who's relatively close to my size lines up right next to me.
These days it's more guy. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Like, back in the day it was about girls though. I was like, trying to show off.
Totally was not about the reason why, because like my girl, she to this day, my girl's been lifting forever. She's still got to go like, how much weight is that? Yeah. She don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? They don't fucking. Girls aren't going like, wow, that's like 275. I can't believe that. They don't fucking care.
My girl does. Yeah. She notices exactly
She's like,
what's
I
going
can
on.
lift more than that.
Yeah.
Pussy over there. What that guy's doing?
Although she'll say something like, not realize it sounds condescending, she'll be like, "But that's a lot of weight." I'll be like, "Oh, come on, man. You say it like that, man. You make me feel like that."
It's like, it's good.
Yeah, it's still a lot of weight. I'm
Like whenever their voice goes up, like, oh, yeah, I like it. It's cute.
Yeah. She gets mad when I look in the mirror and I say, "Not bad for an old guy."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not old. Yeah, I'm old. Not bad for an old guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This Quah is brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's ORGANIFI.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout.
All right, our first question is from Island Inversion. What's your go-to workout plan if you're away from a gym on business or vacation?
You know, my go-to to start with for me is if I'm in a hotel that has a gym. Well, first off, hotel gyms are pretty terrible typically.
They are dog shit.
Yeah, there's usually no real free weights. There might be some dumbbells if you're lucky that go up to like 45 pounds.
You could do everything that's in our Anywhere program in those, though.
Well, you can do that in your
Pretty
hotel
much.
room.
Yeah.
You can do that in your hotel room. But what I do is if they have a gym, this is what I've done in the past, I should say, is I'll go into that gym and I'll do one intense set per body part, and I'll typically do it with a very short rest in between, so 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'll do 3 or 4 rounds of that, and then I'm done. And I do it every day. Now, here's the thing. I do a lot of frequency. So every single morning I'll go in there, and I'll spend about 30 minutes doing that workout, and it helps maintain my progress.
I do something similar. I think this is the only time I really actually apply like a circuit training kind of method, depending on, well, I'm limited here. I have this amount of weights and machines. So can I superset? Can I kind of move my way around, just cut the rest, make it feel like I actually did something productive? But in terms of being effective, there's a lot more moves I'll do that are pretty much just body weight driven, and all. If the weights aren't there to where it's like sometimes I just don't bother, and I'll just work on my mobility and I'll work on body weight movements.
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't have a structure to what this looks like. I mean, the answer that I think that would be smart for me to say business-wise would be to say Maps Anywhere, because that's why we designed it. We literally designed it with those intentions that if you're a businessman or woman, you travel a lot, you know, what would a good structured program look like that you could do literally anywhere? And that was the reason why we created it. So we have something for someone who doesn't know how I put something like that together. But in all honesty, for me, it really depends on the mood I am. The one thing, though, that's important, and probably kind of like what Justin alluded to, which is the circuit kind of training. Well, it's more like I know I need to move. If we're traveling, that means I'm on a plane, I'm probably in an Uber, I'm sitting a lot, I'm not burning a lot of calories, I'm not taking a lot of steps. And so I like to either get up an extra hour early or stay up an hour later and get this workout in. And really, I'm not only am I trying to touch some weights, I'm not trying to make huge gains. I'm not squatting heavy weight or deadlifting major weight in a hotel. You know, what I'm doing is I'm burning some extra calories that I probably would have normally burned had I been home.
Yeah.
And one of the easiest ways to do that is in, you know, a circuit-based type of format, or I will normally get on their treadmill or elliptical or whatever they have inside there, and I'll do, you know, little bouts where I'll go for like 10 minutes on the treadmill, and then I get bored, and then I'll go pick up a set of dumbbells, and I'll do some body weight or dumbbell type squats and do push-ups, and so I'm just kind of moving and keeping my body moving, because I know that I'm pretty sedentary when we travel like that. But it really has no rhyme or reason when it comes to like the structure of it, because I'm not in a structured program currently right now. Now, that would be totally different if you asked me that question in the heat of a major goal. I just set a goal. I'm going to be, you know, shredding down for a show or something. Well, then I would want something like Anywhere, something that is way more structured, that I can rely that, hey, this is going to be a really good workout for me. I just want to make sure that I move on those days.
Yeah, for something that's more recent for me, because, you know, since I've started dating somebody like Jessica, who's very much into fitness like I am, now it's much more of a priority together, right? So when we go on trips, something that we like to do is we like to, first thing of the day, and I don't want to say morning, because there's definitely days we wake up much later because maybe we went to bed real late the night before when we're on vacation especially. But one of the first things that we do is we have our workout, and it's really improved the quality of my vacations, because, you know, vacations tend to include a lot of food that you may not normally eat. They include maybe less activity, a lot more lounging. You know, if you're at a sunny destination, aside from the adventures type stuff that you may do, you might just be sitting by the pool and relaxing and having good conversation. It includes alcohol. And I noticed that the workouts make my vacation much more enjoyable. I feel healthier. I feel better. And I'm not like, many times I'm not in there to have a crazy hard workout. Like I'm not trying to get more fit on my vacations. It actually makes me laugh when I go to the hotel gyms. And, you know, we were in Mexico recently and they have this decent actually gym upstairs in one of the buildings, and they have the windows outlook the ocean and all that stuff. And so we'd go in there at around 8 or 9 a.m. about 30 minutes after we wake up, and there are people in there working out, and I know for sure these people never work out. Like I just tell by their form and how they're exercising, how they're shaking when they're lifting weights, their technique, on the treadmill or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a strange time to start your workout is when you're on vacation.
Can I just say that's one of my favorite things to do is like go to these resort type like workout gyms and then just sit there and watch people and see what they gravitate towards and like what kind of like sporadic movements like come out of their body.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's funny. I'll talk to people too in the gyms all the time. I love talking to people in those gyms. And they'll, we'll start a conversation, where you're from, whatever, and I'll be like, oh, is this the workout that you follow at home? No, I don't normally work out at home, but, I have time now that I'm on vacation. I guess that's okay, right? It's fine. You have time. You want to work out. But my point with all this is that's not the time to try to get fit.
Right.
Definitely not for me. Like when I do it, I'm doing it because I probably didn't eat very good.
I'm just trying to negate some of the damage and
some of the inflammation. I may be stiff.
And you want a good pump right before you lay around the pool. Let's be honest.
You
gotta get that in.
That's a huge point. Yeah. But the other thing is that I don't typically work out every single day. I work out most days, but I don't work out every single day. But when I'm on vacation, especially now that I've been dating Jessica, every single day we do some kind of a workout, and it makes the vacation more enjoyable because exercise applied properly. Again, remember what I said earlier, I'm not there to get more fit, but exercise, applied appropriately makes everything else more enjoyable. I'm less inflamed, I'm less stiff, I feel maybe less hungover. Sometimes my workout might be stretching and yoga on the beach because I'm a little bit hungover. Maybe I'll use the sauna and do like a cold rinse, but it's kind of part of my hack to enjoy more of my vacation. And I really enjoy it. And then of course, the fact that I'm a fitness fanatic, I like working out in different places, and hotel gyms, although they're typically crappy, I still like going into them because
a change of environment.
Yeah, and there's always some machine that I haven't seen in a long time or some weird piece of equipment. Like the last one I worked out at, they had this machine. It's really strange, and I can't remember. Techno Gym. That was the name of the company. Techno Gym.
Yep, I know that company.
And there were. It was a machine. It was selectorized. It had handles, but the handles had cables attached to both ends.
So it went it had like a wall that was like slates of wood, and then it had it was almost like a cable machine, but it was in the middle. Is that one?
No, I've seen that one.
Okay.
This one is literally for example, a chest press. So you sit in the chest press, you grab the handles, but the handles have cables attached to both ends. So it's kind of like using cables, but it's not like a free motion. So I'm not totally free. They had that with shoulder machine. They had a row machine like that. They had a step up machine with that. It was kind of different. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of them, but it's different. Never get to use them.
I like them. So the Super Sport 24 Fitness over here has them. You know which one? The one over off of. Right. They have a bunch of those.
I haven't been in that. I never went in that one.
Oh, you haven't?
Never.
Oh yeah, they get some. You want to go see some cool machines? They got a bunch of.
Really?
Cool, yeah.
This is the one on Willow Glen.
No, not Willow Glen. The one Super Sport, the big one.
The big one off 101?
Yeah.
Near Bay 101?
Wow, never. That must have been one that was built after I left.
Yeah, that one's huge.
Yeah, it was built.
Is that the biggest one in the area?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, by far.
I have yet to do that one. But I like to do the daily workouts. And what I used to give my clients to do is I would tell them, let's say I trained a client 3 days a week, personal training, and then they went on vacation for a week and a half or whatever. I would give them bands, and rather than tell them, okay, you're gone for 10 days, I want you to do these 3 1-hour workouts, it was far easier for them to stick to a 15 to 20 minute daily workout. And that's what I've always given people. Here's your 15-minute workout.
I mean, we just, and so in anywhere it has that where you can scale up the time in the workout too. So anywhere really was designed for this. Now,
Yep.
it may sound weird that I'm pushing that, yet I say I don't do it. But I mean, I've been working out for fucking ever. I don't need a structured program to help me while I'm on vacation. Like I just approach it with a way more of a loose attitude where, you know, if you're concerned about that and you're not sure of what you should do when you travel, or I mean, that's why we designed that fucking thing. I mean, it's an incredible, useful tool.
Well, I'm with
for
you, and I always say that, but like then I'll talk to Courtney, for instance, and I'm like, I'll be in the gym. I know exactly what I'm doing because
Right.
I've been doing it for like my whole career. She's just like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And just lost. And
Right.
so it's like the mentality is totally different. So that's it. So you try to think about those things and like how we programmed for somebody like that. That's just like, well, I don't want to not do anything while I'm here. And so, you know, we tried to make it so you could challenge yourself when you feel like I want to just do a kick-ass workout today, or I want to do something that's a little more corrective, therapeutic, or, you know, along those lines.
Yeah, here, I'll give you this super basic free information right here. Super basic routine you can do in your hotel gym, or if you don't have a gym, with bands. Here's workout one, very easy. Back step lunges, chest press, rows, overhead shoulder press, curls, and either some bench dips or some tricep extensions with the dumbbell, and then whatever ab exercise you want. There's your very basic, easy
Total body,
circuit.
get it done.
Here's the other one you could do with bands if you don't have those machines. You could still do your back step lunge. You could do your band row. You could do push-ups. You could do an overhead press with bands or a side lateral with bands, curls, and again, overhead tricep extension with the bands, and then whatever ab exercise you want. Super basic, super easy, and it maybe take you 20 minutes.
Next question is from Mark in the Mountains. I know you guys don't like the term warming up, but is there something to it? When I go on winter hikes, my hands and arms move slowly until I warm up again.
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's your central nervous system.
Circulation, buddy.
Yeah, it's when you're cold, your central nervous system naturally tells your body to tighten up a little bit. And when you're really warm and hot, your central nervous system tends to relax. And so this is why if you're in a sauna and you're stretching, you're probably going to get greater range of motion than if you're in a meat locker and you're trying to stretch. So there is...
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
That'd be awful.
Do meat locker yoga?
Oh my
We
God.
should start that.
Just snap. You know, it reminds me of, you know what I think about right away, right?
Rocky.
Thank you. Yeah. When he's hitting the big beef.
on the bus.
Yeah, it's so good. There's something to warming up in the sense that warming up your body relaxes the CNS a little bit and gives you maybe a greater range of motion. Now, does this mean that you are at a reduced risk of injury? Not necessarily. You could go too much and have this really loose range. I mean, how do you feel when you're super hot, right? It's like a super hot summer day and you got low energy. You might have less stability. You might go into a workout being like, oh, I'm super warmed up now. And then you go do a bottom out squat. You don't have the control to do so and you hurt yourself. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're better off, although many times it does. Probably better off than just being super cold and then trying to force yourself to get into a range of motion. That being said, comparing warming up to targeted priming is like comparing a bottle rocket to the space shuttle that went to the moon. I mean, there's literally no comparison. Yes, a general warm-up will get your body to feel looser and may increase your range of motion, but it does nothing to connect you to better ranges of motion. It does nothing to improve your stability in new ranges of motion. It does nothing to change your movement patterns, or at least give you the feeling so that you now have a little bit of feedback so you can fix your movement patterns like priming does. Priming is on a whole nother level, which is why we don't use that term warming up.
Right. Well, one of them, and that, I think that's just the way to say it, right? One of them carries over to the other one and the other one doesn't, right? Like if you prime, you get all the same benefits that you get doing a generic warm-up. If you actually prime for your body, you're going to get the blood flow, the circulation, the warming the joints up. You're going to get all those benefits that you get from quote unquote generic warming up. If you do generic warming up, though, you won't get the same benefits that you were to if you were to do specific mobility type drills. So to me, I feel like when you do mobility, if you like the way you feel when you warm up, it's just, so this reminds me what Mark's talking about is like when I go snowboarding, like I could, before I go snowboarding, I could do like, some jumping jacks or lunges or, swing my body around and get the blood flowing and get some benefits of warming my body up before I go. And that would make me feel better than going completely into it cold. But what would be better? It would be for me to get down to my deep squat, do some thoracic mobility, do some lizard with rotations, do some combat stretching, do some things that are specific to my imbalances. I get the benefits of the warming the joints up, getting the blood flow going, and then also to work on my specific needs. So to me, it's kind of like that's where we're like, it's not that we're anti-warming up. It's just like, if you're going to put the work in, if you're going to do movement with purpose. I used to say this with stretching. Like I used to hammer stretching back in the days, just like, don't just stretch, stretch with purpose. It doesn't make sense to stretch muscles that don't need to be really stretched, because then all you really do get the benefits of the blood flow that we're talking about. Stretch with purpose. If you're going to put the time and effort into stretching, do it to the muscles that need it. Same thing goes for warming up. If you're going to warm the body up, you should be addressing the
prime. And there's the optimal length tension relationship. If you're doing something specific that you want performance out of, priming is the best way to go about it. Is we're opening up those very specific movement patterns or those very specific ways of stabilizing the joints so it performs that movement, and it sort of prepares the body for that pathway to sort of open up, versus just the entire body just getting loose, and now I have to figure out how to then get tense on command in the right direction. It just doesn't transfer and carry over the same way that it does when you're more specific.
Yeah, so just so if you're listening and you've never heard us really compare the two and you're kind of confused, I'll give you a very basic, easy example. Let's say you were going to go do a workout and your first exercise is bench press. And I'm going to use a very generic priming activity that someone can do. But let's say you're going to go bench press. Now, a normal classic warm-up might be to stretch the chest a little bit and to do some maybe light sets of chest press just to start to feel the muscles warm up and get that better range of motion and not feel so tight. So that would be your general warm-up. Now, proper priming would be first to identify any potential movement pattern issues that you might have. So let's say you're an individual about to go bench press and you have the very, very common posture deviation known as upper cross syndrome. Let's just say you have where your shoulders like to roll forward. They're round, it's kind of like hunched shoulders or rolled forward shoulders, which you can picture in your mind right now. It's very, very common. So let's say that's your problem. Well, the way you may prime your body may be to do some exercises that activates the muscles that pulls the shoulders down and back. Now, why is that important? Because that down and back position is where you want to be when you're bench pressing. That's where you want your shoulders to be stable so that you can bench press a lot of weight in a safe way and to also hit the target muscles in the most effective way, which the target muscles with the bench press are the chest. So if you prime your body the right way, it's targeted. And really, priming is just targeted warming up, if you will. Priming is doing what warming up has always promised to do, but has failed to deliver. I mean, gosh, do you guys remember how we were told to tell people to get warmed up for the workout?
10 minutes
run
on
a
treadmill.
lap and then
Or get on the treadmill for 10, 15 minutes. Right?
It didn't matter what we did.
Stretch your hammies.
Yeah, it didn't matter what we did. It didn't matter what the workout consisted of, or what the posture deviations were, or what the muscle issues were, movement pattern. It was like, oh, hey, Mrs. Smith, cool. Go get warmed up on the treadmill or on the bike, and then when you're done, come meet me over here and we'll start our workout. That's how we were coached and trained. And trainers embraced it because it was easy.
Yeah.
Your client got on cardio for 10 minutes, so I had 10 minutes to bullshit with my trainer friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it's a little bit better than nothing, but barely. It's not that much better than nothing. And it's actually the static stretching stuff, that's even worse. That actually can cause more injury. But yes, there's definitely something to the body actually warming up temperature-wise. But I want to say this, though. It's not the way it was explained to me is not true. When I first became a trainer, an older trainer explained to me warming up and said, when you have a rubber band and if you put it in the freezer and you try and pull that rubber band, it's going to snap. But then if you warm it up a little bit, it gets pliable and it stretches. And I'm like, oh, that's That's what he means by warming up. Okay, no, that's not how it works. Your muscles don't work that way. Trust me, you're not getting cold enough to make your muscles
Can you imagine
brittle.
if we were all brittle like that? We'd all shatter.
No, you're not getting cold enough.
Oh,
to do
no.
that. No, it's literally your central nervous system that is more active or less active due to temperature. And by the way, this can happen for a lot of different reasons, not just temperature. You could be stressed out. You could get pissed off, and your CNS is going to tighten things up. Just like it would if it was cold. So.
Next question is from Harder Life. What books would you recommend to educate oneself on health, fitness, and lifestyle?
What did you guys think of my Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding?
That was a great flashback.
Dude, that's the OG version.
Oh, that's the first one.
Because I used to have a different version that was a black and white cover, and it was thick, but it was not as thick as that one. Mm-hmm. That thing was a monster.
No, that's the one that I have.
Did you take a picture of that and share it? You got to share that to the audience, because you've had that since you were how old?
I think I want to say 14.
Yeah, the audience needs to see the usage of this book, because I don't think I've ever seen a book hanging by its dear life.
Oh yeah,
I've read the fuck out of that book.
I mean, it's got.
I feel like you slept with it too.
You've got tape all over it.
Uh-huh.
Holding the spine together, and it just at any moment looks like it's going to just disintegrate.
Doesn't it give it character though?
It does. No, that's why it's great. You got to take a picture of it and share with the audience.
When I was 14 is when I really started getting into working out, and my cousin and I were like fucking serious about it. And that Christmas, we both got a copy of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, and it's like this thick. It's a very thick book, and in it, and Arnold wrote it, obviously, with the help of, I think Bill Dobbins helped him write it. But in that book is, my favorite parts were the body parts. So it would go through chest, back, shoulders, biceps, triceps, forearms, calves, abs, obliques. And he would list every known exercise for those body parts up until that point. Now, he didn't include every single machine that existed, but every single free weight exercise
It was
was
like
in there.
everything you could possibly think of.
Yes.
And then he would get other bodybuilders that had the best muscles in that category to model for him, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so like the back section was Franco Columbu, because Franco Columbu was known for having the most insane back. Like the legs area was Tom Platz, because Tom Platz had crazy, and these are all bodybuilders from the 70s and 80s. Bertil Fox for the shoulders, because he had big delts and all that stuff. So it's Chris Dickerson, I think, was calves. So it goes through all the body parts, but it also goes through diet. And some of the diet information is pretty solid. I mean, he's advising a pretty high calorie diet to put on mass and stuff. It's kind of the old school bulking method, but it's pretty solid. He tells a story of what got him into lifting weights. At the end of it, he talks about contest prep. He talks about posing. He talks about oil, how to oil your body up. He talks about, it's a massive book. I must have read the book a million times. If you're really, really into working out and you would just like to learn a lot of old school exercises, I highly recommend Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. Even the new one still has a lot of different exercises. It's just fun. It's fun to have on your mantle.
Where I direct people now is different. I actually used to direct people to national certifications, and it sounds crazy because you think that, I don't want to be a trainer. I just want to learn this information. I think the way like an NASM is structured is in a really good way, even for the average client. I actually had clients that I recommended that to and then read it, and it made my job easier when they had a better understanding, so they knew what the fuck I was doing and why I was doing it. So there's some certifications that are cool to go through. Now that can be a really expensive way to learn the information that we talk a lot about. I think a book that I recommend the most now is Paul Chek's How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy.
Yeah, good one.
I think that it's a fairly short read in comparison to like a textbook. I think the things that he covers in there were so far ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people are getting on board with a lot of his philosophies that they called him crazy about years ago. I think it's an incredible holistic approach to training and moving and dieting. I think that's an incredible, well-rounded read for anybody.
I recommend that one all the time. The other book is Healthy Gut, Healthy You by Dr. Ruscio, to really help yourself with, because you're asking about, this person's asking about health books as well. There's not a lot of great information out there on how to improve one's gut health, and he really spells it out. He really breaks it down. There's protocols in there you can follow.
He does a great job in that. Courtney got a lot of benefit out of that just from the section on hormones and thyroid and just some approaches that you can take and test out, with nutrition and, seeing how to improve your overall gut health and performance there. So yeah, I love that one. I also like, and from the way that I sort of came into fitness was more through sports and through movement specifically. So less on the bodybuilding, although I did a lot of bodybuilder workouts and was definitely, in that world on some level. But I was reading books like Easy Strength, and that was, that was something that I thought was very interesting. I started getting into kettlebell training and Dragon Door and all these publications that were promoting things like that. That kind of opened my eyes as to more of the unconventional world and different ways that people were using training and treating strength and simplifying the process of getting strong. And also movement was a big book for me that was more recent, by Gray Cook, who really outlined sort of a way to identify movement patterns and see where people were falling short and how to recognize those patterns pretty quickly through testing. And I did apply probably about half of it. Like I found that some of it got a little bit it wasn't really relatable for what we were doing in the training session. So I would just sort of filter my way through a lot of these concepts. But I really did enjoy a lot of his thought that he put into trying to screen people in their movement and be able to optimize that whole process.
You know who's got good books too? Sorry to interrupt you.
No
Mike, dude, our boy Matthews has got some. His books are pretty solid too, man. The way he writes,
very good, clean, basic, honest, good information for the average person.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
he writes really well.
Yeah,
too.
Mike's books are great, dude. I think he's a great resource. I think for information.
Did you guys ever read this book, Dinosaur Training?
Yeah, no. Dinosaur Training was one I would recommend too.
Oh, yeah. I love this.
Love that book.
So Brooks
and
Kubik,
Starting Strength is another
Starting
one.
Strength is good. So Dinosaur Training was really good because that book really got me to understand the value of heavy singles and doubles and odd lifts, strongman type lifts. That book really transformed the way I trained and helped me understand, what strength is all about. Max Lugavere's book, Genius Foods, excellent book on how to eat to optimize brain health or to maintain longevity with your brain. Another excellent book.
It's a great book.
Yeah, definitely a book. Supple Leopard.
Supple Leopard's a good book.
Yeah, that's a really good book as well. So these are all great. I mean, the good thing is that there's so many resources nowadays.
Wired to Eat by Rob Wolf too.
Oh, that's a great one.
Another one.
That's a great one.
Super Training.
Yeah, these are all great. So many great resources now. You could literally just go online.
I like to think though that we curate a lot of that information. I mean, a lot of the motivation behind the podcast was, we've collectively done a lot of this reading for people and try and present a very non-biased a way of talking about all of these books. Because I think they're all incredible and they all have things for people to take.
Well, and you can also see how it's influenced us all individually and how that's sort of collectively we've figured out sort of what we all have found to be things that stand out as like, oh, wow, that method really worked with me and my clients. And so that's like definitely something that we should keep in the conversation.
Right.
Next question is from Mick Baca. If you could have one physical feature from the other Mind Pump hosts, what would it be?
Oh, it's easy.
Justin's calves.
I was going to call that.
I want his calves right away, that he works so hard for.
Dude, you guys don't realize though. Like at one point, I was.
Do you even know how to use a calf machine?
I did use them back in the day.
Did you use them a lot?
No, but I did. See, I did a lot of sprints. I did a lot of like uphill training. I did a lot of jump rope. I did a lot of things that were more plyometric based, explosive things. So, but not necessarily like machines for hypertrophy. So no, yeah, I can't.
Well,
say
I've been
that.
jumping my whole life,
Subscribe.
and I still don't have calves.
So there you go. I mean, the development there. Yeah, my dad has amazing calves. So yeah, it was just one of those things.
It's always the guy in the gym with the best calves. Always the guy that doesn't work them.
Yeah.
That's always the case.
Yeah. I want Justin's calves. I want Sal's quads.
Oh, there you go.
So that's if I took a body part from each of you, that's the body parts I would take.
I would love Doug's skin.
Oh yeah, I think I want Doug's skin also.
Oh, I mean, it's like so.
I'm a little freaked out by that.
I want
Yeah.
Doug's eyes.
Yeah.
I get Doug's eyes.
Yeah.
You do gaze into them.
Yeah. a
Well,
lot.
you can't help it. They're like crystal blue.
Yeah, there you go. So if you have to take a body part right from everybody, I'm with you on that. I'm gonna take Doug's skin. I'm gonna take Justin's calves. I'm gonna take your quads.
Yeah.
So everyone has everyone.
I would take your shoulder to waist ratio. That's a very.
Yeah, you're an asshole. Like your whole waist thing where you can't get like any body fat there. Like screw you, man.
Yeah. No, you got the hip to waist ratio. If you talk about bad genetics, but that fucking really played in your favor.
Oh, that was.
For
I mean,
physique, yeah.
for men's physique, it's. I think it's arguably the most important thing to win is to have that.
I was gonna say your height, but like I could use another inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, that's funny you say that because I'd rather be your height at 6 foot. Like I'd rather be 6 foot than 6'3".
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, being a lanky guy, it's hard to pack on muscle, man. I wish it was easier to pack on muscle a little bit more. I think that if I was 6 foot, I would have been a monster. You know,
You got pretty monstrous there for a bit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, kind of. Kind of,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit.
You know what I want to do is my buddy took the 23andMe test, and they tell you if you have the gene, they'll say, oh, this means that you build muscle easily or whatever. And he took the test, and it said that he didn't. He had the gene that means he can't build muscle easily. He's all pissed off or whatever. But I want to take that test just to
I
see
would
what it says.
love to take that test.
Do you know why I want
That'd
to take
be
that
good.
test so bad? Because I wonder, I see pictures of myself now when I was 14 and 15, and yeah, I'm a skinny kid, but I am not as skinny as I thought I was when I was that age. I thought I was so terrible, but I look at it, I'm like, I wasn't. I look like a
You were
typical.
closer to normal than you were skinny.
Yeah, and I think it's.
See, I wasn't. I mean, I was so skinny. My ribs. You saw my ribs. Dude.
I want to see a picture. I bet you just look like a normal kid.
No.
I bet you look like a skinny normal kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you don't. I think it's.
I was on the abnormally skinny, bro. I graduated high school. Okay, at 6 foot tall and 135 or 140 pounds.
Yeah, that's a high school kid though. High school kids are like. Plus, you grew up.
Yeah.
You also sprouted late though.
I think I was 185. So yeah. That was,
Yeah, that's just and you
was
you
only-
were
and he
you
was
were
5'5".
and you were lean. And
I was 5'5".
you were lean. You weren't like a round pudgy
Yeah,
kid.
no, I was-
No. So
definitely
he's got
lean.
40 pounds.
Yeah,
on
but
dude.
that's hard. You can't
Yeah,
use that
that's-
because look at.
And he's taller.
Listen, bro.
How tall were you when you were a sophomore?
My girlfriend was 5'11" and she weighed like more than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall were you as a? When did you get tall?
Junior year.
Right. So of course you were skinny. You fucking
Yeah, I know.
sprouted.
You sprouted like crazy.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
bet
happens.
you 4 years later.
I went from my freshman year. I was 5'3", so I shot all the way up to 6 foot.
Wow, 5'3".
Damn, really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
my
a
freshman
huge
year
leap.
I was a point guard. So I mean, obviously I went freshman year 5'3", point guard. Probably grew a couple inches, but then junior year I sprouted all the way up to 6 foot, and then I actually kept growing out of high school. So my junior year in college, I grew.
So you were late.
I feel like Sal had chest hair first. I don't know why. I just feel that way.
You know, I'm not a hairy person like that. I probably had pubes before you guys did. I remember having those bad boys in like
Show me.
6th grade. Remember that?
Prove it.
Yeah, but I wasn't that hairy. Both of you guys are hairier than I am.
I don't know about
I don't think
that.
I'm
My
very-
arms, like I'm real deceptive with that.
Yeah.
Courtney was very surprised.
You got that forearm.
I
hair.
do. I look like Wolfman Jack,
Yeah, it's
with the
coming out.
forearms. But
No.
I don't think I'm that hairy. I'm not very hairy.
You're not. I'm neither am I. You know what I mean? I'm not a good representation of my
Yeah, I don't
my
think
people.
I don't think any of us really are.
No.
Doug definitely isn't. Doug's
Well, he
like,
shaves everything.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, he waxes everything.
He's a waxer?
Special
Yeah.
place.
Not true.
I was just
He's a
saying,
waxer and bleacher.
He's
No, I'm the hairless variety.
he's a hairless right.
wow.
He's a bleacher.
Yeah. It's a Brazilian thing.
Ooh, it looks good. No, I was 6 foot when I was a freshman, I think. Freshman or sophomore. So I got up tall real quick and I stopped.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so if we went to the same school,
Yeah, you'd be like a big, tall friend of mine.
yeah, and then it would have been like, oh shit, slow down, bro.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
passing me up. I bet you're, like I said, you were skinny because you sprouted so fast. But I would like to take this test because I bet you especially you and I, Adam, because we were so insecure about being skinny.
Yeah.
I bet you were going to take the test and be like, you've got good muscle building genes. And we'd be like,
I don't believe
all your
that.
excuses are out the window.
I mean, I would love to take it and be proved wrong. I don't think by any means did I.
yeah. Did anybody in here take that test? None of you guys did?
No.
Have you done it, Doug? The 23andMe?
I haven't, but I bought it.
You have it at home?
Yeah, I have it at home.
You need to do it.
How do you take it?
I don't know. I haven't even opened it yet.
Really? When'd
My
you buy
parents
I bought it
took
Black
recently.
Friday.
Why
It was on
haven't we?
sale.
Why haven't we reached out to them to be sponsored by them? That's a good company that I wouldn't mind working with. Have we not sent Taylor on that?
Yeah.
Taylor.
Is
Oh,
it
you
real
don't listen.
accurate? Or
He
is
doesn't
it-
listen to the show.
Taylor. God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start talking more shit about him on the
Start
show.
listening to the show.
Yeah. Start having people razz him all the time.
Yeah. So check this out. If you go to mindpumpfree.com, you can get any one of our free guides for free. That's right. They're all free. There's like 12 guides on there. One of them helps you get a better squat. There's another one there that helps you tighten up your midsection. We have a fat loss one. We have one that teaches trainers how to become more successful in business and more. There's a lot on there. Again, it's mindpumpfree.com.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.